MPC. Welcome sa ating economic briefing, weekly economic briefing. Today we have ASEC Tony Lambino to introduce our guest for today.
Thank you, Yusek Rocky. Magandang umaga sa lahat at welcome po ulit sa ating weekly economic press briefing co-hosted by the Economic Development Cluster and PCOO. Sa adhikain ng pamahalaan na mapalago ang ekonomiya sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalakas ng industriya dito sa bansa, kasama sa 0 to 10-point socio-economic agenda ng Duterte administration ang sustained trade policies, increased business competitiveness, rural and value chain development, increased foreign and local investment, human capital development, at innovation sa science and technology. Sa kasalukuyan, maraming pagbabago ang hinaharap ng mga industriya sa ating bansa. Ang mga pagbabagong ito ay hindi lamang nararanasan dito sa atin, pero pati rin po sa buong mundo. Yung tulad po natin, ang ilan sa mga bansa ay nag-usad na ng kanilang mga estratehiya upang ihanda ang kanilang mga industriya sa angkop ng mga pagbabago at epektibong paraan. Yung sa atin, yung estratehiya po natin ay tinatawag na Inclusive Innovation Industrial Strategy or iCube-S. Ulitin ko po, Inclusive Innovation Industrial Strategy or iCube-S and Philippinovation and Entrepreneurship Roadmap. Yan po ang estratehiya natin sa manufacturing sector. Ngayong umaga ay makakasama po natin si Undersecretary Rafaelita Aldaba ng Department of Trade and Industry. Ibabahagi po niya ang updates sa manufacturing at 4th Industrial Revolution at ang ating iCube-S na estratehiya po ng Pilipinas. Salamat po.
Magandang umaga po. It's really a pleasure to be with you today and share the initiatives as well as the policies and programs that we are currently implementing at the Department of Trade and Industry. And hindi ko nabanggit. Yusek Rocky and ASEC Tony, and to all the media reps present here, a very good morning. Okay, so what I'll do is we'll do a quick presentation about and provide the context of all these programs that we're implementing, and then we'll do our Q&A. So can you turn? Okay, so we start by looking at this chart. As you can see, the Philippines has been experiencing strong macroeconomic performance. For 2018, last year, we hit a growth rate of 6.2%. We're third to China's 6.6% and Thailand at 7.1%. And note that this is happening amid economic and global uncertainty. Next slide, please. And much of this growth has been due to the strong performance of our manufacturing industry. You can see up there that for the period 2000 to 2009, the average growth rate of manufacturing was 3.2%. But in the more recent years, from 2010 to 2019, average growth rate increased to 7.3%. It is for this reason that many observers are saying that the Philippines is already experiencing a manufacturing resurgence. Next, please. But as the economy grows, our trade deficits have also been widening. And you can see that also in the chart. We've put together the trade deficits with the different partners of the Philippines. There's ASEAN. So if it's red, that means it's a trade deficit. And so far, our trade surpluses are only with the US, with the EU, as well as with Japan. But for the rest of the countries, we've been incurring really huge deficits. And let me also note that in a span of 4 decades, there's been perennial trade deficit except in 2 years, 1999 and 2000. So the rest of the years, negative talaga tayo. And looking at the share of this deficit to our GDP, this also went up substantially from minus 4% in 2015, minus 11% in 2017, and then in 2018, nag-increase ulit to uh, almost 15% of our GDP. And that's because we've been growing. For next slide, please. So when we try to look the major sources of deficits, if you look at the countries, it's really being incurred in countries in the ASEAN region, but mostly the largest is Indonesia, as well as in China. And when you look, for example, which products are we experiencing all these deficits, it's in petroleum and petroleum products, transport equipment, cereal and cereal preparations, plastic materials, iron and steel, as well as in medicinal and pharmaceutical. Next, please. So, mostly, if you look at, we won't go through the rows one by one, but in summary, these huge deficits are present mostly in not only in finished products like transport equipment and cereal preparations, but mostly in intermediate goods like petroleum. Of course, wala tayong oil, no? So we have, pero it's not enough. And as well as in iron and steel, chemical materials and products. So doon po napupunta yung ating mga imports. Kaya as we grow, syempre kailangan natin itong mga ganitong mga produkto dahil hindi natin na-manufacture locally, kaya nagtitrigger nitong mga malalaking deficits. Next, please. So when you might be wondering, bakit hindi na lang i-produce sa Pilipinas? So this is the current situation, no? In automotive, we are doing manufacturing. In fact, we have the CARS program. This is the Comprehensive Automotive Resurgence Strategy Program, wherein government is providing incentives in order to jumpstart the development of the industry, particularly in the manufacture of strategic parts and components. And then when we look at the electronic sector, mainly we are focusing on the semiconductor manufacturing services. And pag tinignan kung siyempre, high-tech po yung mga semiconductor parts na ito. But if you look at what particular stage nung value chain yung ginagawa sa Pilipinas, it's really the more labor-intensive at saka yung nasa back-end assembly process and test. And if you compare sa ibang activities dun sa value chain, mababa yung value added dito sa stage na ginagawa dito sa bansa. So, agriculture, as you know, nasa mechanization phase pa tayo, kaya talagang malaki yung imports natin. Nakita nyo naman na yung cereal and cereal preparation, malaking contributor din sa ating deficits. And amidst all this, narinig nyo naman po siguro yung Fourth Industrial Revolution. Ano po? Ito yung mga technologies like robotics, mga Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. Marami po itong mga disruptive technologies na to, and malaking paghahanda ang kailangan nating gawin in order to enable us to really compete, no, versus other countries, and that would also enable us to strengthen our industries as well as to manufacture some of those imported products that are currently contributing to our huge trade deficit. Okay? So, next, gaya po ng sinabi ko, disruptive itong mga technologies arising from the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And in fact, may mga studies that were already conducted. Sabi ng McKinsey, 48% of activities, that's equivalent to 18.2 million jobs, could be automated. And mostly, it's gonna affect agriculture. with 6 million jobs, no, being lost due to automation. Retail, 3.4 million jobs. In manufacturing, 2.4 million jobs. And the chart that you see, this was this was based from a study conducted by this group of researchers, Francisco Monterola et al. They also say the same thing. And dito naman what they're measuring is the probability of jobs being automated. And again, it's mostly mataas yung probability sa agriculture, forestry, and fishing, as well as in financial insurance, in mining, as well as in construction. Pero yung risk of being automated, mababa in sectors like education, arts, entertainment, human health, public administration, as well as in professional and scientific sector. Next. So in the face of all this, we really need to rethink what should be our strategy. No, we're faced with all these new disruptive technologies which could lead to job losses if we're not able to properly implement a good strategy. And that would also allow us to shift to a new industrial strategy, as well as enable us to transition and transform our economic structure such that we will be able to embed these new technologies in our production system. So there is a need to upgrade and deepen our global value chain activities, and this pertains to increasing our exports. So dalawa po yun. To address the trade deficits, we need to increase our exports as well as be able to manufacture those parts, particularly mga intermediate parts and components that are currently being imported. We also need to support industries that are transitioning to the fourth industrial revolution technologies, no? And we need to apply these new technologies. Ibig ko pong sabihin, let's embrace Industry 4.0. I-embrace po natin itong mga bagong technologies because they can help us improve our productivity and our competitiveness. But at the same time, we need to reskill our workforce. We need to focus our efforts in terms of improving our education system, along with improving our ease of doing business, building those necessary infrastructures that would enable us to improve our competitiveness. So nandiyan naman po yung ating build program, kaya napaka-importante po nun. And at the same time, we need to encourage innovation as well as research and development, and provide support for startups. So kailangan po natin ng isang carefully crafted industry support scheme. Ito po yung mga incentives na alam natin dapat ay time-bound, performance-based, and transparent. So, next please. Ito po yung strategy, ang tawag natin, like what ASEC already mentioned earlier. iCube is Inclusive Innovation Industrial Strategy. So in this strategy, we are building our innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. We are removing obstacles to growth in order to enable us to attract more investments and create more and better jobs. We are strengthening our domestic supply chains. Nakita nyo naman po, maraming mga gaps. Yung pong mga gaps na yun yung ini-import natin kasi wala dito sa bansa. Ano po? And of course, we need to deepen our participation in global value chains, and that is going to enable us to increase our exports. So this is the strategy in the face of what we see outside, no? Yung fourth industrial revolution, yung nakikita nyo naman po sa slide yung increasing tendency for countries towards protectionism. And right now, we're already seeing yung trade war between the US and China. And then other countries have their own strategies. Made in China, there's Thailand 4.0, Make in India. So lahat po yan, nakafocus in terms of addressing yung mga disruptions due to the fourth industrial revolution technologies. And in our case, the other purpose is really towards addressing poverty. Kaya po, we want more and better jobs, high-paying jobs, because that's the only way by which we will be able to reduce poverty and shared prosperity for all. Next. And then here, maybe I'll just go over this very quickly. These are the pillars of our iCube S. We are creating new industries and new industry clusters in view of the new technologies arising from Industry 4.0. We are also focusing our efforts towards human resource development, equipping our workforce with new digital skills, MSME and startup development, innovation and entrepreneurship, government, academe, industry collaboration, and ease of doing business. And dun po sa ease of doing business, this pertains to both yung mga software and hardware. So including yung mga needs for us to build new roads, airports, ports, bridges, and so on. So in the next slide, you will see these are the target industries that we're focusing on, and they would serve both the domestic and the export market. So we have electrical and electronics, auto and auto parts. Mostly these are in the manufacturing industry, aerospace, IT BPM, of course, and e-commerce. These are under services, but we need to connect, no? We need to connect our strength in IT with manufacturing as well as with agriculture. Kasi yung mga bagong software and the digital skills, dun po yun sa IT BPM. And what we want is really to be able to embed yung mga skills natin sa IT doon sa manufacturing industry. That would make us really more competitive pag nagawa natin yon. Tool and die, iron and steel, chemicals, and then of course agribusiness is very important because that's the only way by which we could transform our regional economies from traditional agriculture to more modern agribusiness. And that's also the key to enable us to solve poverty in the regions. And then you have shipbuilding, furniture, garments, the creative industry, transport, logistics, construction, tourism, innovation and R&D activities, and of course, yung sa environment would be climate change and more energy efficient activities, no? And the next slide shows us, ito naman po yung ating innovation strategy. We are linking together yung ating innovation ecosystem with the entrepreneurship ecosystem, because right now the ecosystem is really largely fragmented. Hindi po nag-uusap yung ating mga stakeholders and players. So what we want is really to be able to, why are we building this innovation ecosystem? The focus is really towards the commercialization of research, research that would be market-oriented, research that would address both industry issues as well as societal problems, and turn this research into new products, new services, and new business models. That is the only way by which we would be able to compete against other countries. Kaya crucial po yung innovation. So what we're trying, next slide please. So the main focus of the Philippine Innovation Roadmap is really towards building regional inclusive innovation centers. Hindi lang po dito sa Metro Manila yung focus, but what we really want is to be able to create and build these innovation centers in different regions, in different cities, across the different parts of the country. And what we do, like what I've said, is to link together all the different players, the different stakeholders, government, academe, industry, link their innovation activities so as to be able to produce new products, new services, and new business models, particularly in sectors such as electronics, agribusiness, automotive, aerospace, chemicals, and IT BPM. So I think the last slide would already identify the next steps and way forward, given all the different activities that we are currently focusing our efforts. Much more, of course, remains to be done. In particular, of course, we're now talking about the fourth industrial revolution and all these new technologies, but many still remain limited in their digital involvement. The reasons being our connectivity is still inadequate, and at the same time, there's also limited awareness. I have to admit, there's still limited awareness among our people of the benefits of digitalization. And then we also have issues pertaining to skills gaps, no? Because all these new technologies would require new skills. More attention, therefore, should be given to building infrastructure, telecommunications infrastructure, address our internet connectivity because access is still a problem. The cost is also relatively high as compared to other countries. Broadband access, computerization, and syempre, importante, electricity supply. Paano naman po natin magagamit yung internet kung walang kuryente, no po. And hence, the need for us also to adjust our education and training system that would deliver the necessary skills required in the digital economy. Specifically, we would like to focus our efforts in terms of being able to develop our STEM education, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. But we can also include STEAM. So yung A would stand for agriculture as well as for the arts. And then concerted efforts are needed to ensure that the shift towards the new digital economy or Industry 4.0 does not leave any person, any enterprise, particularly our MSMEs or region behind. And we're happy that the Philippine Innovation Act has been approved by the President. This is going to create an innovation council, and at the same time, it would allot the necessary funds that are needed to enable us to develop our MSMEs and startups. And then with Industry 4.0, let me also note that one important advantage or benefit why we need to shift towards these new technologies is that through these new technologies, we can make our manufacturing industry more efficient, more scalable, and so we will be able to leapfrog to industrial development. Kailangan po natin yon kasi medyo na hindi naudlot yung ating industrialization eh. So this time around, gusto natin na talagang magtuloy-tuloy yung ating industrialization. And finally, of course, the approach in terms of carrying out all these plans and action programs is strong government, academe, and industry collaboration. Paulit-ulit naman po, sinasabi natin na we need a whole of government approach. So even within government, nag-uusap-usap po kami, wala na po yung mga silos. And this is important in order for us to institutionalize the proper policy framework and innovation strategy that would enable our industries to address the challenges and take advantage of the opportunities arising from the fourth industrial revolution that would serve as our engine towards sustainable and inclusive growth and shared prosperity for all. Salamat po, and I very much look forward to your questions.
MPC, may tanong ba kayo? Rose Novenario. Nakasmile si Arthur.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Paano po ninyo i-address yung mababang pasahod po sa mga manggagawa dito sa bansa para po umarangkada yung industrialization na sinasabi ninyo? Kasi po yung mababang wages po sa bansa ang nagtutulak sa mga Pilipino para maging OFWs. So yung kanila pong knowledge sa ibang bansa po nila nagagamit imbis na dito sa ating bansa.
Salamat po, pero yun na nga po ang mga bagay na gusto nating solusyonan, kaya po meron tayong bagong industrial strategy. At ito po, kagaya ng sinabi ko, paano natin mapapataas ang sahod? by developing all these new industries, focusing on these industries na nandun yung comparative advantage. Ibig pong sabihin, nandun ang strength ng Pilipino, nandun ang strength ng Pilipinas. Maraming talento yung mga Pilipino, pero dahil kulang yung investments, dahil po yung napupuntang mga investments dito, yung sabi ko kanina, yung sa, for example, yung sa electronics, mostly ito ay yung assembly, process, test, mga labor-intensive tasks na mababa yung value added. Siyempre po, pag mababa yung value added ng produkto na ginagawa mo, mababa rin ang iyong kita. Kaya yung strategy natin, papunta dun sa mga trabaho na high value added, para nang sa ganon, yung kikitain ng tao ay high wages. Yun po yung equivalent nun. High value added equals high productivity equals high wages. Hanggat hindi po natin nadadala yung mga ganitong klase ng trabaho dito sa bansa, I'm afraid mananatili po na mababa yung kikitain natin. Kasi yung mga yung mga multinationals, they would invest here to take advantage of our low labor cost. But since ang gusto nga natin ay baguhin yung ating stratehiya, gawin natin na mas high-skilled yung ating yung mga Pilipino, at paano natin gagawin yon? Dalhin natin yung teknolohiya, kasi kung wala naman yung technology dito, hindi na tayo makakapag-compete. Isa pong parang dalang pag nag-cost benefit ka naman dito sa mga bagong technologies na to, hindi na pwede yung strategy na nagre-rely sa low labor cost. Kasi kung mababa ang iyong kita, pinakita ko naman po sa inyo kanina, 'di ba? Kung labor intensive yung isang sektor, madali ang mapalitan ng mga robots, madali ang palitan ng mga machines. Kaya ang gagawin natin, pagsasamahin natin yung technology at yung ating mga highly skilled Filipino workers. Paano natin magawa yon? Kaya tayo nakafocus in terms of mga training programs, revising our curricula in order to ensure na itong mga bagong skills that are needed sa pagpasok ng mga bagong teknolohiya ay nandito sa bansa. So, yun lang po yung yun po yung magiging susi as to how we will be able to increase the productivity and increase the wages of our Filipino people by upgrading our industries and being able to bring the necessary technologies that would equip us and enable us to become more competitive.
Thank you, ma'am.
RJ?
Yusek, do we have data, ma'am, as to how many manufacturing companies are already catching up with the industry 4.0?
Very few. Well, in fact, yesterday I was talking to a group from the electronics group, and what we intend to do is to conduct a survey to find out the position of the different industries with respect to Industry 4.0. For now, really, very few companies are ready for the for Industry 4.0, but there are already some that are shifting, but mostly Industry 3.0, I would say, yung mga industriya natin. And there are some nasa Industry 2.0 pa, and specifically in agriculture, sad to say, mechanization phase pa. So we really need to do a lot of work. We need to conduct all this focus group discussions, kasi otherwise hindi po naman malalaman ng policymaker kung ano ba yung sitwasyon ng ating mga industriya. So yun po yung ginagawa natin ngayon. Pero hindi ko lang masabi eksakto, but wait po, meron po kaming manufacturing summit come November 27, and our target date to share with the public yung results nga nitong assessment that we are carrying out is in November 27, we'll be announcing to you kung nasaan dun sa Industry 4.0 yung mga industriya ng Pilipinas.
These very few sectors, what are these sectors, ma'am? Manufacturing mostly?
Of course, nasa electronics, nasa electrical manufacturing system. Maybe I can mention the name. Si Ionics has already installed Industry 4.0 technologies in its plant, meaning mga bagong machinery yung dinala na pag Industry 4.0, yung machines na po, very little na lang yung intervention ng worker, but it's really the machines that are talking to each other through internet.
But when we say very few, ma'am, can you provide us how many percent or
Yung automation, well,
Yeah.
yung automation depende yun sa depende sa stage or depende, 'di ba, iba-ibang proseso yung ginagawa sa isang planta. So, itong mga very few companies, they are able to, I would say siguro mga 80% or 70 to 80% fully automated. Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin na porket meron na tayong mga machines or merong mga robots, kaagad-agad mawawalan ng trabaho yung ating mga yung mga Filipino workers. Because yung nangyayari ngayon, kahit bago yung technology, meron pa ring mga bagong jobs na nakikreate. Kaya po yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na we need to reskill and upskill our workforce. And with these new technologies, magkakaroon ng demand for new skills na kailangan paghandaan natin. And hindi po natin magagawa yon kung hindi natin ire-retrain yung ating mga workers. And even si TESDA po has its own, dinidiscuss po namin kasi yung TESDA is also an attached agency of the DTI. So we're also discussing dun sa mga programs nila how we can introduce itong mga bagong skills na necessary in order for our industries to shift to Industry 4.0. So marami pong mga pag-uusap among the different government agencies as well as with industries para po cohesive yung ating mga plano and execute natin properly. And hindi tayo mabibigla na one day nag-aalisan pala yung mga companies because hindi tayo handa. But in our case, talaga pong ina-anticipate natin na this is gonna happen. Talaga po, Industry 4.0 is going to affect everyone. Lahat ng sector maaapektuhan. And so, we really need to prepare our industries para nang sa ganon, tuloy-tuloy yung ating nakikitang magandang performance ng manufacturing. And for us to be able to sustain this high-level growth, we really need to invest on innovation, and that is necessary in order for us to be competitive.
Ma'am, we are engaging the education sector, right, to train students and at the same time teachers. Do we have enough experts to do that?
Ngayon po, syempre po dahil lahat ng ito, mga bago, so we're also discussing with CHED as well as with PASUK. Last week po, nagkaroon lang kami ng discussions with with the presidents of Philippine state universities and colleges, and it's the same focus. How do we prepare our universities for Industry 4.0? So as we speak, nangyayari po itong mga pag-aaral as to how we could revise yung ating mga existing curriculum, ano yung mga bagong courses that we need to introduce, anong klaseng engineering, data science, very important because actually hindi ko po nabanggit kanina, but we're also we're also envisioning the Philippines to become a center, an AI, Artificial Intelligence Center of Excellence. Kaya po yung AIM, nag-umpisa siya yung the first institution to offer MS in data science. And at the same time, right now, UP, Ateneo, LaSalle, MIT they are already offering MS in data science, and some of our other universities are also incorporating data science in undergraduate courses, particularly in BS Math, BS Statistics, Computer Science. So essentially what I'm saying is we are really creating this pool of data scientists kasi malaki yung implications ng AI. Maraming applications ang AI. And so what we really want is to be able to attract yung mga companies that are using AI, attract them to locate in the Philippines, and dito dadalhin nila yung technology nila. But of course, they would be in need of our data scientists in order for them to be able to provide solutions using AI. So meron na pong isa, yung Wave company. It's a Silicon Valley company bringing with it hundreds of patents and also mga bago, malalaking and supercomputers, and it was able to hire data scientists and train. No? Before nila hinire, they train our students, and those that would be able to pass the training were automatically recruited. And they've been in the country for 1 year and continues yung mga trainings that they are providing. And also, we are working with universities, those that have technology hubs. And ito po, these technology centers or technology hubs located in 13 universities, yun din po yung magiging training centers naman natin for data science. So while yung mga universities, they are offering this MS in data science, yung mga technology hubs, what we want is for them to offer yung mga short training courses. And kahit na sabihin natin AI yan, but still we would require hindi naman lahat yan, mga highly skilled yung ire-recruit, but there would be mga yung mga tao who would do the data cleaning and the data annotation. So hindi naman to kailangan ng mga engineers or mga scientists. So even those na may mababang skill, for as long as ma-train sila as to how to do it, magkakaroon ng mga bagong trabaho. So ito po yung mga examples na sinasabi ko na while we're bringing new technologies, talagang they would require new skills. And yung mga new skill sets na yon, it's not only for our highly skilled or yung mga mga 4-year courses yung natapos, but including yung mga gagawa ng iba pang mga necessary tasks, no? Like people who would do the data cleaning and data annotation, and marami po yung kailangan. So this would generate these are high paying jobs as compared to what these people are probably getting right now.
Ma'am, yung data science, hindi pa siya part ng curriculum ng higher education institutions, correct?
Not yet. So it's a new.
We are awaiting that point where we are going to see the curriculum having the data science and artificial intelligence courses.
Well, right now, the universities that I mentioned are already offering
Yes.
MS in data science, and the other universities are actually, kasi hindi, parang madali namang gawin yun eh. Ini-include lang siya doon sa curriculum ng BS Math, for example, or BS Statistics. Isinasama siya sa mga elective
Okay.
courses. So, para ma-expose yung mga estudyante natin dito sa mga bagong courses that are needed.
The universities you mentioned are mostly private universities. So, ano yung capacity ng state universities natin, ma'am, for this?
Well, like what I've mentioned, we are also working together with state universities and colleges. So, marami pong paghahanda ang kanilang ginagawa, and I really believe that we can do it. Hindi po constrained in terms of yung talents. So I think for as long as we're able to provide the necessary training to our teachers, they can effectively carry it out. And magkakaroon po tayo ng maraming data scientists in the future. And even you know why? we are also closely engaged with the Wave Company. And si Wave Company was telling us na the people they recruited are not just coming from De La Salle or from Ateneo or from UP or from MIT, but they're also coming from other universities and colleges in Mindanao, in the Visayas, and they are also impressed with the performance of our students. Kasi hindi naman sila diretso na magtatrabaho kaagad eh. They undergo a training para mas ma-equip, and the way they treat the students as well as their workers is parang sinisimulate nila yung environment in Silicon Valley, because what they want is for our workers, for our people, na magkaroon ng ma-imbibe nila yung creative mindset, yung innovative spirit na alam naman natin very much alive doon sa Silicon Valley. And that's also the reason why we're talking to DepEd, because not only to CHED, no, but we think na talagang if we want this innovative culture, this innovative and entrepreneurial culture to be present, to be built in the country, it has to start from the basic, from the primary, no, na malagay sa curriculum kung papaano mo kung papaano ang isang bata ay maging creative and innovative. So ganun po kasi yung ganun yung experience ng mga successful countries, and that's what we want to do in the Philippines.
Ma'am, ano yung target year natin where masasabi natin pasok na tayo sa 4.0?
Well, right now we're already starting. Like what I've said, there are already companies that are doing and incorporating or embedding these new technologies in their own production system, except, of course, nasa infancy stage, no? And I hope in 3 to 4 years' time, we'll be able to really say na pasok na tayo.
Okay, thank you, RJ. Bernadette?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Good morning po. Follow up lang po doon sa tanong ni RJ. So, paano po natin malalaman na pasok na talaga tayo doon sa Industry 4.0 po? Ano pong gauge po natin, parameters po? Pag na-complete na po ba natin yung roadmap or ano po?
I would say it's the number of companies, the number of industries that have already embedded these new technologies in their production systems. So to me, that's the most direct measure for us to say that, well, the Philippines is Industry 4.0 ready.
Are you saying na 100% po ng companies fully equipped na with Industry 4.0 technologies? Yun po yung parameter natin to say that Industry 4.0 na talaga ready na yung Philippines for that?
Hindi naman po siguro kaagad-agad magiging 100%. So I would say it's going to be a gradual development. So magkakaroon po yan ng phases. So yun po yung tatargetin natin sa ating... Well, incidentally, I think I also have to mention na meron po tayong ginagawang Industry 4.0 roadmap. Meron din pong AI roadmap. Hindi po ang DTI lang ang gumagawa nito, but dun sa AI, we're trying to form a task force, like what I've said, because this is really going to affect many industries. And so we need to engage with these industries as well as with other government agencies like DOST, with TESDA and CHED, and the DepEd, with NEDA, with the DICT. Importante po si DICT because of the physical infrastructure. Kasi lahat po ng ito mababaliwala kung ang mundo ay nasa 5G, pero tayo nasa mas mababa. So kailangan po natin kailangan nating itayo yung mga infrastructure that would enable us to make effective use of this technology. So kasama po 'yon sa preparation towards Industry 4.0, yung infrastructure, yung broadband, and yung access sa internet, and the cost.
Follow up po. So, in 3 to 4 years po, ma'am, ilang companies po yung ina-expect po natin na makaka-equip na Industry 4.0 technologies po?
Siguro po I would not measure it in terms of the number of companies, but I would just say yung mga specific sectors that we've mentioned dun sa presentation. These are actually our priority sectors, yung automotive, electronics, aerospace, and agriculture. We hope that in the that's why it's crucial na ma-connect natin yung IT, BPM dun sa manufacturing sectors natin. And agriculture is also very important that we adopt these new technologies in order to increase our productivity, expand production, and increase the incomes of Filipino farmers. So pwede po yung nagdi-discuss kami kanina ni ASEC Tony, yung precision agriculture or smart agriculture, which would make use of mga sensors, or yung mga vertical agriculture given na yung lupa po natin ay di ba marami nang kino-convert na mga agricultural into mga real estate. Nandun po kasi yung mga investments dun sa real estate, but not too much in manufacturing, in agriculture. But I guess given the signals that we're sending now, that government is really putting all its efforts, formulating programs and policies that would help manufacturing and agriculture grow and develop, I'm sure na yung mga investors, the market would respond given na itong mga signals na to coming from us.
Wait lang po. Yung sa employment impact po, 'di ba? 18 million po yung total ng jobs na expected po na mawawala po dahil po sa Industry 4.0 po. May we know po kung kailan po natin expected 'yun? Within 20 years po ba yung
Based
timeline
dun
nun?
sa dito sa pag-aaral na ginawa ni McKinsey, well, they're actually looking at a period of mga 5 to 6 years na for this to happen. Kaya talagang tayo siniseryoso natin ito, ayaw natin na mabigla. Kaya lahat ng paghahanda ginagawa po natin because we want what we want is to be able to take advantage of the opportunities. We know the costs. And we also are aware of the opportunities. So yung ginagawa po natin, how do we address these opportunities? What do we do in order for this not to happen, no? Yung mga job losses. And that's the reason why we want to attract more investments. And para dumating yung mga investments, kailangan nating ihanda yung ating infrastructure, yung ease of doing business, importante yan. Yung ating mga tao, so human resource development ay importante. Yung ating mga incentives, syempre po, mga bagong technologies to, high risk. So may justification naman po kung bakit pwedeng tulungan ng gobyerno yung mga bagong investors na papasok.
So, so yung sa, ano po, local study po ba to, ma'am?
Well, it's it was conducted by McKinsey Global. So the researchers who conducted it are I would guess, no, mixture ito ng Filipinos and mga foreign researchers. But McKinsey has an office here, by the way.
But ito pong study na to is Philippine setting po, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Philippines.
So sa agriculture po, 90% probability po na meron po tayong employment impact po within 5 to 6 years po, right?
Yeah, let me clarify. The McKinsey McKinsey study, 'di ba? May mga figures na inestimate, and then yung chart below that was carried out by actually mga tiga AIM ito. Sila Francisco Monterola, these are all Filipinos, mga from AIM. Yeah.
So dalawa po yun, ma'am.
So I'm referring to two studies. Pero
okay.
in terms of the conclusion, they arrived at the same conclusion, like it's really the low skilled, the low educated, yung mga routinized jobs which would be most vulnerable to the adverse effect of technological change, no? So parehas aligned naman yung mga findings nila, except yung isa ang inestimate niya would be the probability or the risk of the job being automated. Yung isa talagang inextend niya. Talagang kinalculate niya kung ilan yung well, I guess the way they did it was to look at knowing the probability, then they looked at the number of workers dun sa sector and kinalculate lang. Kaya siya nakakuha ng mga numbers.
Pero pareho pong 5 to 6 years po yung timeline, right?
The AIM study did not indicate any time period eh. But of course, a lot of people are saying, in fact, it's already happening, no? If, especially, of course, mauuna sa mga developed countries, but for developing countries like the Philippines, syempre, like what I've said kanina, we're still at the infancy stage, and that's the reason why we want to move up. We want to be able to accelerate this process kasi hindi tayo hihintayin ng mundo, kaya kailangan nakahanda tayo dahil yung mga investors are already looking for new areas to invest in. And pag nakita mo na showcase mo na Philippines is ready, may pool ako of data scientists, and I have all this wonderful infrastructure. I have we've already improved yung ating ease of doing business. So at the same time, the other good thing for us is we are growing, no? Especially over the last 7 years, talagang very remarkable yung performance ng Philippines. Our macro fundamentals are okay, and and even in terms of demographics, in terms of market size, we are a country of over 100 million Filipinos. Napakalaking market niyan, while the other countries, mga aging societies na yan eh. Diba? So wala na silang mga workers. In our case, yung what is our median age? 23 point something, diba? So mga bata, very talented, English speaking. In fact, nasa atin lahat yung hinahanap ng mga investors. And so, ang kailangan talaga natin is be able to package our programs, present ourselves, present the Philippines really as a very good alternative place for all these investments to happen. And sabi ko parang, I can't wait, but these are really exciting times.
Ma'am, last na lang po. Yung sa agriculture po kasi, I would just like to focus on agriculture kasi nga siya yung may pinakamataas na probability po. So how is the government planning to cushion the impact for workers nasa agriculture po? Ano pong ginagawa ng government to lessen the impact na 90% po yung mawalan ng trabaho sa kanila? Considering po na sabi po ni President, weakest link po ang agriculture sa economy po. So ano po yung ginagawa ng government po to lessen the employment team?
That's a very good question. In fact, like what I've said, that's a priority, one of the top 12 priorities of the government. What we want to happen is really to be able to introduce new technologies dun sa ating agricultural sector. Kasi kayo po, di ba, talagang mababa yung productivity ng agriculture, kaya mababa yung income ng ating mga farmers. And so what we want to happen is introduce these new technologies in order to improve, expand production, increase the productivity, and improve the incomes of the farmers. So if we can bring in these new technologies sa agriculture, I believe that we will be able to improve the lives of our agricultural farmers. So yun po, kami naman po sa DTI, while we're not DA, but we work closely together with DA, but at the moment we're also focusing on kasi may rice program na po, di ba? So we're looking at the high value crops like coffee, cacao, coconut, fruits and nuts, and we have what we call the rapid growth program, by which we would be channeling the support in terms of having a component that has well, it's actually my office that is responsible for crafting the innovation component of the RAPID program. So what we want to do is really to be able to work together with business, with the researchers who would come up with the solutions using all these new technologies that are available in order for us to improve and expand our production. In fact, napakalaki po ng potentials. Malaki ang demand, for example, for cacao, and Philippines is one of the very few countries that can grow cacao, no? And then plus all the other crops, coffee, malaki yung demand outside, but because of the low productivity nga and the low production, even domestically, you know why yung trade deficit natin sa Indonesia ay malaki? One of the reasons is not just because of transport, but because of our coffee imports. And we are a coffee growing country. So nakita niyo po yung mga ano, those are the issues. But though they are issues right now, we are trying to convert them into opportunities. Kasi ibig lang sabihin nun, kailangan talaga i-boost yung support dun sa ating agricultural sector. Sa coffee, for example. Kasi kung ma-introduce mo yung technology at ma-expand natin yung production, then we can export more. We can provide the needs, the domestic needs of Nestle, for example. So hindi na kailangan na mag-import ng napakalaki, and that's one way by which we could address yung ating napakalaking trade deficit.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Last question, RJ. Last question na si RJ.
Ma'am, we are creating an artificial intelligence task force.
Yes.
When is that?
Right now, we will have pati ba yung mga meetings namin, no? So we'll have a meeting, regular meetings are going on right now. We have some members already. AIM is one of the agencies who would be helping us. We are also working together with team, the Stride team. This is a project being funded by USAID. Then we're also working with our state universities as well as with our research institutions and some members of the industry. So marami po, may mga representatives
This
from the
is-
different sectors. Kasi like what I've said, strong government academic industry collaboration. Yun po talaga yung yun yung secret as to how we, kasi in the past, di ba, may mga plano, wonderful plans, but which were not carried out effectively kasi nga walang buy-in yung ibang mga sectors. And that's what we're trying to correct right now, knowing that mistake from the past. So talagang kami po kumikilos as one, and working, collaborating with academe as well as with industry. So yung task force, we will also be having a public forum, no, and hopefully next month ma-present na, magkaroon ng focus group discussions in order for us to find out also kung ano yung mga paghahanda and mga pag-iisip ng iba't ibang mga sectors natin.
Ma'am, government agencies involved are DTI, what else?
We signed an MOU, no, for the implementation of the Philippine Innovation and Entrepreneurship Roadmap. So it's composed of 7 government agencies. Apart from DTI, we have DA, we have NEDA, we have DOST, of course, DICT, CHED, and DepEd.
So yung task force, kailan siya ma-constitute?
Formally.
Oh, formally.
The work is now, hopefully next month, in August. Kasi marami na kaming mga discussions, marami na ring nag-signify in terms of participating actively in the task force. So hopefully by August, we'll be able to present to you yung mga plans that, in fact, we've crafted an AI general. It's a very broad roadmap. We've identified the different elements that are necessary, but we need to, since it was carried out by a few people, and what we want is to present it to this AI task force and find out ways by which we could fine-tune and eventually ilo-launch and ipapresent sa
Okay.
public.
Ulitin ko lang, ma'am. Yung output ng AI task force
Would be
is
the
to...
roadmap.
Yes.
AI roadmap.
AI roadmap.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, MPC. Last question, Joseph.
Ma'am, dun sa data nyo ng job losses, na, I'm just curious kasi yung pag sa automation, ang nababasa natin is yung mga call center will be affected. No? It's a big industry in the Philippines. And I was wondering, saan siya papasok na data dito dun sa first study? Whether nasa retail ba sila or do you have data on how much is going to affect the call center industry in the Philippines, yung automation?
Well, dito sa McKinsey, can I give you the number later? Kasi I only highlighted yung mga selected lang ito eh. But there are other sectors and we can I'll check later.
But for the
Nandito
for
sa
soundbite lang,
computer.
sir, ma'am.
For BPO, well, actually, there have been pronouncements from some experts that it's the first sector really to be affected in this among the different industries in the country, and 50% actually of or over 50% of the workforce in IT BPM would be from the BPO from the call centers, no? So hundreds, I would say hundreds of thousands. Hindi, not naman million because IT BPM has only a little over 1 million workers, and if let's say approximately 50% would be from the BPO sector, then I would say no, I will check later. So hundreds of thousands.
And what are we doing to prepare for that kind of? Is that being felt already? The decrease in maybe hiring of call center agents, or maybe
Well, some companies are actually already employing the new technologies, but based on the interviews that I had with these companies, what they told me was they did not lay off any of their workers, but they have the new technologies. But what they did was, again, they did some retraining, because even if you bring in the new technologies, there would still be tasks or jobs that your low-skilled workforce could carry out. So basically, based on the roadmap of the ITBPM, what they want to happen is to be able to shift yung mga low-skilled towards mid-skill nila, and the mid-skill towards high-skilled. And hence, it's really very important that they will be able to attract new investments, as well as for the existing companies to be able to shift to the new technologies. And yun naman yung focus ng ITBPM based on the roadmap. Yun ang focus nila. It's really towards industries that would benefit from Industry 4.0. So towards AI, towards the more highly creative sectors, yung mga health and engineering services outsourcing, because these are the sectors that would benefit from Industry 4.0, and these are the same sectors that our Philippine IT BPM sector is also targeting.
the 50%, can we say that these are going to be job losses in the BPO industry?
If no action would be carried out, yun yung potential job losses. Kung walang
Intervention.
everything the same. Walang kung hihintayin mo lang, hindi ka kikilos, hahayaan mo yung technology or the robots to take away your business, then posibleng mawala. Because
And we can feel this in how many years' time?
wala pa akong nababasang reports from the Philippines, but what I read was based on reports in India. Kasi 'di ba, strong din India is also strong in terms of BPO, and there were already some companies that left, and some companies relocated kasi nga dahil hindi mo na kailangan yung tao. In fact, magkakaroon ng from India, pwedeng dalhin, balik mo sa US, may meron ka ng robot who would answer. nung lahat ng mga simple, yung mga basic questions, di ba, na yun yung ginagawa. So, for the Philippines, wala pa akong reports na natanggap with respect to job losses because of AI. So we're closely monitoring. We're in touch with the industry as well, and we're trying. That's the reason also why we're all trying to craft mga programs to help during the transition. And what they're saying is, with the right support from the government, they would be able to shift towards these new technologies more at a much faster pace.
All right, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you, MPC. Thank you, Yusek Aldaba. Thank you, Asek Lambino. Back to my studio sa PTV.